episode of Inspiration Talks. I'm very excited about today's episode. I have a very special guest all the way from USA. Genevieve Murphy is with us. She's an educator and business entrepreneur. So before any delay, let's welcome Genevieve. Hi, Genevieve. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on your show today. I'm looking forward to talking with you.
Same here. So first of all, thank you so much for being part of Inspiration Talks, Genevieve. I really appreciate. So I would like to start our today's conversation with your childhood. Like, where were you born? Where did you grow up? How was your early life?
I was born in Southern California in the United States, and I grew up there until I was about 16. And then my dad got a job working for the state in North Carolina. And so we moved from the West Coast to the East Coast, and I went to high school and college in North Carolina. I am the oldest, so a lot of responsibilities, but we lived in kind of a remote farming area, and so I grew up with a lot of animals and land to kind of run around. And
That's great to know. So what was your first job when you grew up, and how did that lead to your career progress?
so my first job was being a camp counselor, and I volunteered as a counselor I think when I was about 13, and then we moved again to North Carolina, and I found another job the following summer as a camp counselor, but this time it was working with students with special needs, and so it wound up being a really wonderful camp, and I worked there for 4 summers, working with the kids and doing games and activities, and just working with that population of students was very unique and wonderful.
Okay, so like from this onwards, you kept your field in education.
Yes.
Okay, so
Always in education.
always in education. So your main focus is education.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so is this what you wanted to be when you were little, right?
Yes, definitely. I knew that I wanted to be a teacher when I was 6 years old, and I just really loved my first grade teacher. And I would play school with my dolls when I was little, and then with my brother and sister, and then with my babysitters. So yeah, my whole life I've wanted to be a teacher and educator.
Okay, so when you became teacher for the first time, how did you feel that time?
It was amazing. It was really, really that sense of accomplishment. It really was a lifelong goal. And my first teaching experience was actually working in Japan through a program called the JET program. And in that situation, I was more of an assistant language teacher. And so I went to Japan and I taught in 3 junior high schools there as teaching English, working with the Japanese teacher. And it was a wonderful, amazing experience, and I really loved it. But after 3 years, I really wanted to have my own classroom and be a homeroom teacher and kind of have my own autonomy. And so I wound up finding a job at an international school in Taiwan, and I taught a combined first and second grade class at that point in time. And it really was that sense of accomplishment and gratitude and excitement to finally have reached that goal.
That's great to know. So how was your life living abroad as an expat for so long?
It has been such a blessing in so many ways. I left the United States after graduating from college because I had always traveled within the United States. I had never traveled abroad. And I had this sense that once I found a job in the United States as a teacher, it would be a lot harder to go and travel. And so I wanted to do that for 1 year before I settled down and worked in the United States. And that 1 year has now turned into 15 years because it's just been such a unique experience to be abroad, to experience different cultures, different people, different lifestyles, different food. It's very beautiful and it's very enriching and it's very eye-opening, and you learn so much about yourself, and you learn so much about other people and just humanity, I think, as a whole. And as you travel and interact and meet people from all across the world, you really see that thread of sameness, and the fact that we're all here having life experiences, trying our best, but there's ups and there's downs and there's challenges, but at the end of the day, everyone's just
such a great, to move around the world and to know about different cultures. It actually helps us to learn a lot, to know about other people and even cultures. So here comes another question: why do usually people move from their own country to other countries?
I think it's a combination of things, but I think what I have come to learn, and for myself as well, and just from talking with other people who have chosen an expat lifestyle, I think it is that understanding that there is a big world out there, and that exploring it and being a part of it is very exciting and interesting, and really expands your mind and your understanding. And so it's a great challenge for self-growth, to kind of put yourself in very difficult and sometimes very uncomfortable situations, because there is no familiarity. And although it's challenging and can be scary, at the end of the day, it really is provides the most growth and pushes us to new limits and new awarenesses and new understandings that we likely wouldn't come to if we kind of stayed in our comfort zone or stayed in our own culture or family or community. So the more we kind of expand our boundaries and our limits, the more we grow and the more we see that we are quite capable to do and be a lot more than we may have initially thought.
Right. Yeah, it is challenging, but somehow it is worth even. Everything has its own pros and cons. So, how can women explore the concept of purpose on a deeper scale?
So, this is something that I have come to understand, again, just through my own life experiences. And for me, it was living abroad and having conversations with people that challenged what I thought initially, or made me think about things or understand things from a different perspective. And also in my travels, I've learned about different ways of mindfulness and being aware and being conscious. And I think one of the biggest takeaways that I've had is just learning about awareness of thought. We have so many thoughts every single day that race through our heads, and the majority of them we don't even pay attention to, or we don't even notice, but some of the stronger ones can really drive our way of thinking, our way of being, our way of seeing ourselves and interacting with the world. And unfortunately, oftentimes those are based in limiting beliefs or negativity or self-doubt. And those negative thoughts can really lead us darker roads. And so I think a big part of it is just mindfulness and being aware of our thoughts. And a good way to recognize those is through breathing practices and reading books, because there is power in thoughts. And the more we're able to shift those thoughts, the more we're able to strengthen ourselves and open ourselves to new opportunities. I think being reflective, writing in a journal, writing down what you're thinking every day just to get your thoughts out of your head and onto paper and really grounding them. You can see what are your hopes, you can see what are your dreams, you can see what are your challenges, and from there you can work with it. We keep things in our head and bottled up inside. It's really hard to process. And as women, I think we have so many responsibilities with family and marriages and relationships and keeping the house up and working. A lot is on our shoulders, and it can be very, very overwhelming, and we forget to take time for ourselves. We think that if we take time for ourselves, we're being selfish. We just are exhausted at the end of the day, or even exhausted waking up, looking at what the day ahead has for us to do. And we're not told as women that it's okay to take time for ourselves. We're taught as women that we need to be responsible for everyone and make sure everyone else is taken care of. Otherwise, we are not good moms. We are not good wives. We are not good partners, daughters, etc. And again, that's a limiting self-belief that we need to challenge and we need to shift.
That's right, and it's always good to give time to yourself, at least every day if you find, otherwise at least once a week, because it actually really helps you to know about yourself, that what you want to do with the life and what productive things can you do. So Genevieve, what is social and emotional learning? Why is it important in education?
So social and emotional learning is SEL. That's what it stands for. And those, it focuses on what we call in the West soft skills. So this is more about self-awareness, communication, personal responsibility, relationship building, and how can I take and use my skills to make responsible choices and contribute to the world in meaningful ways. And these are skills outside of academic, with reading and writing and math and those things that education primarily focuses on. There's been a shift in understanding that social emotional learning and these soft skills are just as important, if not more so, in the workforce today, because people need to know how to problem solve. They need to know how to communicate. They need to know how to manage their emotions when things are getting stressful or challenging. They need to know how to talk with people from other cultures. Now that the world is expanding through technology. So it's a lot more of these types of skills. And this is what I focus on as the social and emotional coordinator. And with my company, Know My World, we work with schools and teachers to bring programs and trainings in these areas. And we're starting to expand that into parents as well.
Okay, that's great to know. Is it better to save more money and make less investment?
I think it's better to start by saving money and then using that money to invest in yourself. So if you're wanting to start a business or a company in any way, shape, or form, finding that initial funding and capital can be challenging. So if you start saving money, and then instead of just spending that money on buying more clothes or shoes or things that might not be necessary, and you invest that money either in your own company or finding a company that resonates with you, I think in the long term you can really see a lot more growth in your return on investment and in your money in the long run. So
that's right, I agree. It's better to not invest money in irrelevant things. It's always better to save things rather than buying different sort of dresses or shoes or jewelry, whatever
right,
it is,
right.
depending on the day. So now let's move towards some imagination. Let's imagine and inspire. So Genevieve, if you win lottery ticket, for example, infinite amount of money, how will you spend that money?
It's funny that you mentioned that, because there is a lottery here in the United States that we just bought lottery tickets for the other night. We didn't win, but we had this conversation at dinner, my parents and I. Ooh. And so I think for me, I would invest it in my businesses and start a foundation that, again, continue to support children's education and mental health and emotional well-being, and adults through, yoga and mindfulness meditation. And I think if we had a foundation, then we would be able to really invest a lot more time and energy in our own program development, but also in communities around the world, in supporting women, supporting children, supporting growth and just empowerment and the betterment of the world as a whole. So
Right.
that would make my dream come true.
I really hope that you win lottery ticket one day and you make foundation and you do all the things that you have mentioned right now. All the best once again. So, if you could live anywhere for one whole year, what country will you choose?
I think, honestly, I'm in the country I would choose at the moment, which is in Taiwan. I have been there for 12 years, and it's just such a wonderful home away from home. It's my second home. The people there are just very warm and very welcoming and very kind. The country itself is absolutely stunning. There's beautiful mountains and oceans. It's very safe. And I've really been fortunate to connect with a lot of amazing people there. And so I think I feel very blessed and fortunate that I live in at least one of the countries that I would choose. But the world is huge, and there's so many amazing places. So I would also probably like to live in Portugal for a year and kind of experience Europe a little bit more, because I haven't traveled there too much yet.
Portugal, that's even a great place even. So,
Yeah.
if you had a chance for time machine, would you prefer to go in your past or in your future?
Definitely pick my future. I loved my past, and I've had some amazing experiences, but I really do see wisdom and growth in as I'm getting older, and I would really like to see where I go with all of that in the future, and am I able to make the impact that I'm hoping to, and who do I become and what new wisdoms do I gain over my life experiences. So yeah, I would choose future.
Okay, so does anyone inspire you in life?
Yes, many people inspire me. Again, I think just living abroad, I've had the amazing opportunity to meet a lot of very inspiring people, and through my yoga community, a lot of inspiring women specifically. And there are past leaders who inspire me. There's so many. I don't know where to start, but leaders in the past, like in the United States, Eleanor Roosevelt. I really love learning about her and seeing all the work that she's done. I think right now I'm reading a book by Brene Brown. She's very inspiring to me. I have a lot of friends who have traveled and created beautiful lives for themselves, and I think that's very inspiring. I've had past teachers and professors that I've worked with and been very fortunate to have in my life, and they have helped guide me in my path of education and in business, and they have been very inspiring. And right now, my current business partners in Taiwan, I'm learning so much from them and with them. And I think the more you just kind of put yourself in that space of inspiration, the more inspired you're able to become yourself.
That's right. And in fact, each person plays an important role. It's on, like, there is some or the other quality which can inspire you in some or the other way. So everyone has their own, role in the life of other person. So what are your current struggles and your future goals?
So right now I am shifting. I talked with you a little bit about this before we recorded, but I've been working at an international school in Taiwan for the past 12 years. I was a homeroom teacher for about 8 of those years, or 9. And I taught grades 1 through 4 in elementary school. And I loved it. I loved it so much. And then I was very fortunate to become the social and emotional coordinator at the school. And I did that for about 3 years. And with that, it was more of a counselor role and program development around social and emotional learning. And I really loved that. It was, if I could have a dream job, it was that. So I was very fortunate. But I've also co-founded a company called Know My World about 10 years ago. And we focus on social, emotional, and cultural learning. And we do that through connecting students in classrooms around the world. And it's a really beautiful and wonderful way to help connect students and provide opportunities for global awareness and cultural learning. That's one area that we focus on. And the other is in social and emotional learning. So we create content and programs and teacher training in these areas to really help students. And so the time has come where I really need to shift more of my energy and focus in those areas. I've also been fortunate to partner with 3 startup companies in Taipei who are also focusing in education and social and emotional learning. One of them is Manga Chat. They focus on SEL through digital journaling and comic art and AI technology. So we're working with them to create lesson plans and curriculum that students can do that uses the platform. It helps them learn English and it helps them learn social and emotional learning. We're working with CoLearna, which is a decentralized education platform that supports homeschool families and communities through projects and classrooms or classes for the children to take in those areas. And then we're working with a high school that's focusing on art and music and filmmaking, and we're helping to consult and design curriculum that focuses on mindfulness. And so again, just having these new partnerships is really helping us as Know My World to expand our reach and expand our impact. And so the time is now to shift my attention and energy into the good things I'm doing. They're all beautiful, but they're all very challenging because this is new territory for me. You know, I'm a teacher and I've just really had to learn a lot about business and entrepreneurship over the last few years. An amazing team that I truly, truly appreciate.
Okay, all the best for it. Everything is challenging, but you should never give up. The main thing is never give up, just go with the flow. So,
right.
In the end, I would like to ask, what advice would you like to give to my listeners?
I think you just said it, to be honest. You know, never give up and always trust in yourself. I think that's the biggest thing. We don't need external validation from other people, from other family members, even from partners. It's hard to trust in yourself. It's hard to believe in yourself sometimes. But we all have something really dynamic and really unique and really special inside of us. And we're here on this earth to have fun and to explore our purpose and to implement our purpose. And if we're not doing that, if we're not having fun and we're not living a purposeful life, then we're missing out on a lot. We're missing out on a lot of opportunities. We're missing out on a lot of passion. We're missing out on a lot of purpose and happiness and joy and fulfillment. And so if I just invite everyone to take a moment and kind of examine where they're at, both mentally and emotionally, and even physically and spiritually. You know, something I read in Stephen Covey's book years and years and years ago, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, is he used an analogy of a ceiling fan, and the ceiling fan having 4 blades. And each of those blades represents one of our bodies. So we can see and touch our physical body, but we don't think about or maybe even know about our mental and emotional and spiritual bodies as well. And all 4 need to be in alignment in order for us to function properly, the same way a ceiling fan needs 4 blades to function and work properly. Yeah. You know, if you cut off one of those blades, yeah, it's still going to work, but it's going to wobble and it's going to be wonky. It's not going to be, you know, working at its highest capacity. And whether that's finding support groups, whether that's tuning into your amazing channel and hearing about other inspiring women, whether it's finding books, whether it's finding classes or workshops. And if we all did that, this world would be a much better place.
That's completely 100% true. If we all do like this, like if you go with your passion, and after having the passion, believe in yourself and then never give up, then everything goes well. But if you don't have that much confidence to go with your passion, if you're confused about, then it's of no use. And it's better to live a life which has a purpose to live, along with having fun in this life.
Yeah.
So it was great talking with you, Genevieve. I really enjoyed having a fun conversation with you. Here's a small gesture from me to you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Would you like to say something in the end?
I just really appreciate this opportunity to talk with you, and I think that the work that you are doing is great. Again, just building that sense of community and empowerment among women. There's so many amazing women in the world, and I think finding them and connecting with them and sharing their stories and inspiration, it's the best way to inspire others. So I really, again, appreciate this opportunity to be here with you and talk with your listeners. And I thank you. And if anyone would like to learn more about Know My World, if you're a teacher and you would like to connect your students with virtual exchange or with social emotional learning curriculum, you can find us at knowmyworld.org, and you can reach out to me at any time, and I would love to connect with you and your students.
So all the best with your goals, and thank you for watching.
I have a water bottle.